Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to teach you the secret to getting over 20 miles per gallon with your 7.3 Ford E350. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's any of these fuel additives. I bought my 2002 Ford E350 van in Colorado and drove it to Washington before making any modifications, and I tracked my fuel economy along the way. I've since done a bunch of modifications that should increase mileage, and I just got back from a 2,500 mile road trip to Utah where I tried these two Hot Shot Secret fuel additives head to head to see if one of them improved my fuel economy. Now, this isn't a super scientific analysis, but I think the results are interesting anyways. Ford vans aren't known for being super fuel efficient. My previous van, a 2004 E250 with a 5.4 liter gas engine, got anywhere from 14 to 17 miles per gallon depending on the tires and how I was driving. Driving the new van from Colorado to Washington, I averaged about 18.6 miles per gallon on the van, driving around 70 to 75 miles per hour on the highway. I'll use that as a baseline number for comparison. My 7.3 van has a Super Chips tuner with a performance tune in place, and that's been in place all throughout. But since that first trip, I've done a ton of modifications and upgrades, including a full synthetic oil change, an oil bypass filter, a coolant flush and 203-degree thermostat installation, and a brake job with a front wheel bearing replacement. The van was straight piped. I added back a huge muffler and resonator. On this recent trip to Utah, I started off running Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme. As an aside, this video isn't sponsored and I purchased these additives at retail price. You can support this channel though by purchasing the items I link to in the description. It won't change your price at all, and I'll earn something from qualifying purchases. So this stuff is advertised as a heavy-duty fuel system cleaner. It costs around $18 for a 32-ounce bottle, and this bottle will treat 3 full tanks in my van. Here's what the manufacturer says. Diesel Extreme is a 1-tank injector and fuel system cleaner that provides up to a 7-point boost in cetane. Fuels with a higher cetane burn more efficiently and more completely than those with lower cetane ratings. The savings on fuel consumption and DEF fluid is another benefit of using Hot Shot Secret products. We'll see how it did. I'm here at the gas station fueling up. Just ran 492 miles on the highway, and I treated that tank with Diesel Extreme. It's a fuel cleaner from Hot Shot Secret. What kind of mileage did I get? Took 24.775 gallons for 492 miles, which gives us 19.88 miles per gallon. Pretty good. On the first tank with Diesel Extreme, driving around 70 to 75 miles per hour on the highway, I got 19.88 miles per gallon. That's a 6% increase in fuel economy over my baseline. That's pretty good. If the Diesel Extreme was solely responsible for these gains, that means this bottle would save me about 5 gallons of fuel, which means it would pay for itself with a few bucks to spare. So that's a no-brainer, right? Not so fast. I needed to see if the Diesel Extreme had gained me that fuel mileage or if it was something else. Remember, I had changed out the thermostat and done those other upgrades. So on the next 2 tanks, I ran no additives. This latest fill up is 323 miles, 323.4. 17.776 gallons. So that's 18.1 miles per gallon. That's running clean fuel, no additives. Driving around Moab and now in the desert, I got about 18.22 miles per gallon. And then the first highway leg back, I drove between 75 and 80 miles per hour, and I got about 18.70 miles per gallon. So this was starting to look pretty good for Diesel Extreme. However, Diesel Extreme's pretty spendy at $6 a tank, so I thought I'd try out another option, which is the Hot Shot Secret Everyday Diesel Treatment. Now, this stuff also costs about $18 per bottle, but the recommended dose is 1 to 2 ounces for performance, depending on the size of your tank, versus 10 ounces for Diesel Extreme. It makes a lot of the same claims. So on the first tank, running 1.5 ounces of everyday diesel, I had a bit of a lead foot. I was on some remote stretches of highway and I averaged between 80 and 85 miles per hour. Guess what happened to my fuel economy? 16.96 miles per gallon. Bummer. I guess this stuff's not a silver bullet after all. So as a final control for my test, I reined it in, and on my last leg home, I kept it under 65 miles per hour with no fuel additives. And guess what happened to my fuel economy? Best ever. 468.6 miles on 23.352 gallons of diesel gave me 20.06 miles per gallon. And this was just straight number 2 diesel with no additives. So in the end, what can I say? I think my driving behavior and speed have a vastly more significant effect on fuel mileage than any of the additives or engine upgrades. If I was getting a significant bump in fuel mileage from either of these additives as advertised, I couldn't really tell. Maybe if I put the van on a dyno and ran a very scientific test, I would see, but I don't really have the facilities for that. Fuel economy aside, it's worth noting that regulations for diesel fuels have changed since these 7.3 Powerstroke diesel engines were designed. Modern ultra-low sulfur diesel fuels are great for reducing emissions, but the hydrotreating process that refineries use to remove sulfur also happens to decrease diesel's natural lubricity. It's also entirely possible that there are contaminants or water present in the fuel that you're buying, especially if you're going to a station that doesn't move a whole lot of diesel fuel. So while I can't say that there's an obvious or definitive increase in fuel economy from using either of these hotshot secret fuel additives, I do think you could make a reasonable argument that running an inexpensive additive like the everyday diesel treatment to improve lubricity and keep your injectors clean might pay off in decreased maintenance costs down the road. And injectors aren't cheap, as I'm about to find out. If you found this video helpful or interesting, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. There's also affiliate links to the products I tried in the description below, and buying these helps support me making these videos. If you folks like this one, maybe I'll compare the Arch Oil products on my next trip. But in the meantime, I had an opportunity pop up for a major upgrade to the van, so stay tuned for that video coming soon. Here's a hint, I won't be hunching over in the back of the van anymore. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.